Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis. It's Comic Roundtable. And of course, I'm here with my good comic book friend, Rez. How's it going?
It's going great. I had me a long road trip, as you knew.
Right.
Very, very long road trip, but I had my wonderful friend, My Fam, from the Notoriously Morbid Crypt, customer crypt. Me and her, we've been chatting it up, and she has like been a great fellow companyist on my trip. She had talked to me to and fro and kept me awake because I didn't drink enough coffee.
Well, yeah, for that long of a drive, I bet. That's for sure.
She's
Right on.
darling. And she's watching tonight, so I wanted to say hi to her. Hi, Mai. How are you? Mwah.
Well, righty in. So I'm going to talk some DC books while Rez does some reading because, of course, she drove all day, so she's still catching up on things. So I'm going to talk DC books. No Marvel books this week. None. None whatsoever. There's no Marvel books. I don't have any. I don't. Well, I'm not going to go that far. But
I will.
but okay, that's cool. I don't have any Marvel books. I don't really know of any like Marvel news or anything like that that's to really chat about. So I'm gonna jump right into some DC books. I'll start out with Superman. So Superman issue number 33. It's the beginning of the the Imperial Lex books, and finally we get Tomasi and Gleason back writing the book. Doug Mahnke doing the art, which I don't have a problem with Mahnke's art when Mendoza is inking it. It's nice and strong. But we get the beginning of, we see some apocalypse stuff go on here. The new gods type thing. We get some granny goodness and some stuff like that. Clearly something has happened in Apocalypse, and they are looking for the long lost god to reign over Apocalypse. And it seems to be that it is either going to be Lex Luthor or it's going to be Superman. We're kind of guessing at this point as to which it is. Issue starts out with Lex and Superman kind of showing each other up as to who could be the nicer guy as they stop some bank robbers and that sort of thing. And then Superman and his family go off to the movies. Lex is requesting help. Superman ignores it, and then Lex has some robots show up to snatch Superman up to get Superman to help him because Lex has been captured by some Apocalypse people. So we'll see what goes on. I like the Apocalypse stuff. I like the new God stuff. So looking forward to seeing kind of what goes on. And this is back to the Superman forum that I like. The last couple issues that have been kind of other creators on the book, not quite as strong, but really really enjoyed this immediately right off the bat. You could immediately tell that Tomasi and Gleason were writing it. The characters just all have much better voices when they're doing the book. I mean, I think these guys are spoiling me on Superman. I think if they ever choose to leave the book permanently, I doubt I will stay on Superman a whole lot longer after that, just because of that and whatnot. So yeah, it's like I said, really been enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun there. Say hi to Sean. Sean, how's it going? Let's talk some Batman. So this is Batman issue number 33, Rules of Engagement at the beginning. So Rules of Engagement, I kind of like that title. I think it's a funny title because it can mean two things, right? It can mean engagement as far as like military acts or that sort of thing, or in this case with Batman just having recently proposed to Catwoman, it of course can be engagement as far as like actually being engaged. So Jolene Jones, fabulous artwork. Really excited to have her doing the book. But it looks like the Batman and Selina Kyle are going on, Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle are going on a trip to go and find Talia Ghul. I'm assuming that's to let her know that they're getting married. I don't know if it's to rub it in her face. It seems crazy to me. I mean, that could be the last thing that I would want to do. It seems very, very odd. If I'm going to get married, that I would take my soon-to-be new wife and go find my ex-girlfriend, mother of my child, and rub it in her face. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the premise of that part of the story is, but I'm really curious to see exactly how that all how that all works out. I don't know. I'm really curious about that. There's some great stuff in here. The boys are all together. Jason, Dick, Damien, and Duke, and Alfred lets them know that that Bruce has proposed to Selena Kyle, and they freak out. It's like, oh my God, Bruce is engaged to a supervillain is kind of how they see it. So it's nuts. But like I said, really like the art. It's good stuff. And then of course with having Jody Belair do the colors on it, just make it really great. The one thing I will say, it was hard to tell the kids apart. To me, this doesn't look like Dick Grayson, but that's supposed to be her Dick Grayson. I mean, if I wanted to be splitting hairs, but whatever. Like I said, I still enjoyed it. I really liked the last arc. I'm excited to kind of see where this arc goes. If the whole Batman Catwoman marriage thing does not work out, I hope that I hope they do it right. I hope they treat the relationship well, in whatever that sense is and whatnot. So, and maybe that's just because there seems to be so few couples in a lot of the superhero books that I kind of like, if you're going to mess one up, at least do it right when you're doing it. So Sean is telling me in the comments that the reason that, of course, Batman would take his new girlfriend, his fiance, to see the old girlfriend is because Batman's a jerk. So that might be the case. I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking forward to hearing what the logic of that is. And Talia's getting ready for him. She's like, go get my swords. So we'll see exactly how that all plays out. It'll be fairly interesting and whatnot. Let's see. One of the other DC books I got to. One of my favorite books, Super Sons. This is the second part of the Planet of the Capes, issue 9. The only downside to this issue is that Jimenez only did a few pages. He did like the first couple pages, and he did the last pages, and the in-between pages was by a D. Guillemardonco, and that person's art is not nearly as strong and fluid as what Jimenez is. But the voices are all still there as far as the way they actually sound and that sort of stuff, because of course Tomasi's got these two kids down. This story wasn't as strong though, because it kind of ends on a, they kind of narrate the story and it's over, as opposed to more showing us what happened. And it's always unfortunate when, like, I don't know if it's for time constraints or what it is, that the writer part of the team chooses to quickly narrate what happened, as opposed to it being a visual medium that we get to actually see what happened, kind of a thing. So that would be the one downfall. But I still really enjoy it. It's still one of my favorite books. Like I said, I love the interaction of the two of them. It ends with basically with Clark serving them pancakes and talking to them about stuff, and about they're on kitchen duty when they're done eating the pancakes, and Damian telling Superman that he doesn't do dishes, and he's like, you do here, son. So I don't know, I love all the little stuff. Just great that they're superheroes. They're the two of them, these two young boys, are exploring being superheroes, but at the same time we get to see them be boys. We get to see them be kids and have kid experience and kid reaction to stuff, and I enjoy all of that quite a bit. So still a strong book. I didn't get to many other DC books because my books came kind of late, so I only got some of them read. Kind of waiting for Rez to come back, and when she comes back, I'll talk Wildstorm with her. Trying to think what there is as far as DC news. Ah, there she is.
Hey.
I didn't have that many DC books to talk about.
I thought you could have like a short slew of them.
Yes. You're like speed reading. Oh.
I was like, hurry up, eyes, you can work faster.
So you want to talk Wildstorm?
Yeah, we can talk Wildstorm. I love Wildstorm.
Yes. So the Warren Ellis and John Davison Hunt driven story.
Mm-hmm.
So this issue is, a lot of it is the little alien dude basically saying, yeah, I'm an alien, right? To our, I don't know.
He was explaining his subspecies to be in relation to a very different, I guess, what is the word I'm looking for? You know, my brain's kind of fried.
I'm not sure. So he basically
varieties of earlier humans, you know, what we used to be, I guess what we evolved from. So the evolution, different types of humans. So we had Neanderthals, Cro-Magnons,
right.
and so he says he's an alien, but he's also, his people they had that same form from what earlier humans were, but they're somehow advanced.
Yeah, no, what basically, my understanding is he's saying that basically he is one like breed of a group of aliens that would be the equivalent of if all the different branches of Homo sapien that we come from, if we all existed at the exact same time. So like if right now Neanderthals were walking around and Homo superior was walking around and us and all the different versions were walking around all at the same time. That's what they're the equivalent of. He is a branch of the same family. And that was his explanation as to why he's this short, kind of weird little guy. And that other woman, that other brunette, you know, that she recognizes as being an alien too, that she's different. And that John, what's his face? You know, that guy that they just scooped up last issue from Io, that they saved from Io, that he's another alien. And she's like, oh, okay. You know, kind of just rolling with it.
Yeah, I know, and they also said he was they're ancient explorers who came to help humans evolve and help fix things. Yeah, wink, wink. Yeah, I was like, okay, gotcha. But I like how she was telling him, well, once you get whiskey in you, you know, you let a little too loose. You get a little loose in the goose. We can't trust you. So I'm really hoping that this very nefarious being, you know, kind of alludes to what his actual proper plans are, and it's exposed somehow, and then we see how Angela Spica, how she reacts to it, because we obviously see that she's very emotional, she's very spontaneous, and she reacts without thinking. So it's very interesting to see how this is going to turn out for him.
Well, yeah. Well, the conversation I thought was really interesting is when this other person saying, "Hey, you know, we don't want to tell her too much." You know, that he gave her kind of this sugar-coated, "Oh, we were just explorers." You know, it's like the chances of life existing in the universe are so hard and so slim. We just wanted to come and see what's going on, and we got stuck here, and we decided just to kind of, you know, play along and be helpful and everything. And she kind of bought that. But he's also talking about the fact how he's scared of her, that she is so powerful that she could probably kill them all, and that she might actually be able to kill him. So he must be really hard to kill. And he kind of says, you know, look, it looks like she might actually, you know, that she might actually be able to kill me. And that's how dangerous it is. So we better not spill too much, and we better keep her on our side. That's the goal here, if nothing else, is to keep her on our side. So
exactly. Really, I did find that very intriguing how he admitted that he was frightened of her. So she is very powerful, apparently. Yeah. Not only with this technology, this ancient technology that's embedded into her exoskeleton, but I think there's something else about her that makes her very special. Besides just that technology. And this book just never gets old. It never gets uninteresting. I'm always very intrigued by what's going on. And you notice that every single issue has been a different story, a different character that's focused on. Yet I'm still highly intrigued. It's always one of my top books of that week. And I think, honestly, I wish I felt that way about the first issue of Michael Cray. I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, Michael Cray is really that first issue is really a letdown in comparison to how good this is. You know, because we just keep getting layer upon layer of different stuff going on. You know, we dip back into the IO for a little bit, because they're trying to figure out who the Wildcat team is. They've identified, you know, basically the Grifter character. They have an idea who he is. He's supposed to be dead. How does that work? The underlings are doing their own little sneaky work. I mean, that ahoy boss, you know, that crazy lady that has new phrases written on the whiteboard, and that's how you're supposed to talk to her.
Yes.
Yo-ho, right, it's yo-ho boss. Yeah. And
Mitch,
she's like,
I'm hungry, Mitch. And he's like, yes, boss. And she's like, no, Mitch, what do you say?
Right, what's on the whiteboard?
Don't make me do it. You start crying.
Yes.
You're really crying.
Right. Yeah. Well, so she assigns him figure out how to take out Skywatch without anybody knowing about it. You're a secret room, a sealed room. Only everything's written on paper. Nothing's anywhere else. You know, so clearly there's some you know, underlying stuff going on there. As far as that goes, we get introduced to Jenny Sparks in this, which I know of Jenny Sparks from the prior Wildstorm kind of stuff. I'm not super familiar with the character, but clearly she's some powerful being. I mean, because we get this whole doctor, we find the person called the Doctor, capitalized, you know, kind of like Doctor Who, but the Doctor. And generationally, they have been around since the beginning of man, basically. And when they die off, they go to their own little kind of a heaven kind of a place that the current Doctor can kind of tap into for general knowledge. They talk a little bit about Jenny Spark and that she's kind of like a hall bringer of trouble. She's not trouble herself, but she shows up when things are starting to go bad. So,
you know what's crazy? The first like immediate thought that I had that came to mind when we start seeing the doctor healing all these different people. My immediate thought was Doctor Who. Like this is kind of right. Because I mean, you know, Doctor Who, he travels to different dimensions and worlds, and this seems like a very Doctor Who-esque kind of story. I was kind of wondering if Warren Ellis channeled that TV series somehow for this issue. I mean, it just felt like a Doctor Who-ish type of tale. I liked it a lot. I think it felt so. The tone changed dramatically from where we first got the story about this subspecies of sort from that one guy and him and Spica when they're speaking to each other to now there's this slight omen of, you know, when this, you know, and then Jenny Sparks, which I could tell it was like an Easter egg of some sort. I didn't really catch on to it because, again, I'm not super delved into the older world of old Wildstorm, unfortunately. So I didn't really catch on to that as much.
Because my understanding, the old Jenny Spark was like a millennia baby. Every millennia, a new generation of this being was like born. And so like during the beginning of the industrial age, it would have been like a steampunk kind of a person. And so Jenny Spark is like, I'm assuming now, because of where we're at technology wise, she's probably some sort of informational internet-ish kind of a you know, kind of a thing going on there as far as that goes. Then that's why she could teleport really fast from one place to another. So that was all kind of interesting and stuff too. So Sean Reyes is saying that, you know, Jenny Sparks and the Doctor from the Authority. So clearly this is stuff from the Authority part of it too that I know Warren Ellis and them wrote. So Sean clearly has more knowledge than me and you do as far as the old Wildstorm universe goes. But yeah, all cool stuff. Mike's here. Sergeant America, how's it going, sir?
Hi, I love you, Sarge. I love Private Peanut.
Yeah. And my fam is on. So she has said hi. Howdy, howdy.
Yes, hi. Mwah. Million kisses. And I think my Damien's here too.
Yeah.
I love you, Damien.
So anyway, I mean, I recommend this book. Lots of fun. We're at issue 8, so there has to be a trade, right? Dropping. I would hope soon. DC's a little weird about how quickly they put out trades or don't put out trades as far as reading it in that fashion. But I really like it, and I'm sure it reads strong in trade because you can just read it. You know, you're not having to wait and whatnot. But yeah, I'm really curious. It seems like we're still just scratching the surface of all the stuff that's going on in the book. You know, and of course with this cover, you know, it says we're on issue 8. If issue 24 really is the last issue, it still feels like we got there's a lot to deep dive into.
A lot. But
and I know 24 issues is a long ways away, but it still feels like it's awfully close for how, you know what I mean, how little we've scratched the surface. I'm assuming to some degree, some of the other books that are going to come on as this goes along are going to fill in some of those gaps. But I'm a little more concerned about that, as you were saying earlier, with the way the Michael Cray book read. That doesn't feel like it's going to fill anything in. So hopefully it improves.
But I think the way this reads is really reflective of how the older series was. So you know how this is 24 issues, and you said we barely scratched the surface. I mean, I imagine the older Wildstorm series kind of read similar in that way. It's very long and drawn out. So maybe we may just he may just go longer than 24. It may they can't possibly fit in more than really 24 tabs on one.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't remember if they actually said. I know that basically the idea is they were going to go almost a year before they started releasing other things that were in the Wildstorm universe, kind of a thing. So that's really the Michael Cray thing is the first to come out. And I have no idea when the next, one will come out. Whatever it is, I'm going to at least get the first issues of it just to see what it's exploring. There's still stuff that was talked about in the first issue that we have not really come back to. I still want to know about Voodoo. She was in the first issue, the kind of setting up this performance thing and whatnot. And that's been kind of dropped since then. I don't know, there's just all these really interesting sci-fi type elements that are out there dangling, and I want to get into them. This whole treaty thing amongst the aliens that are living in space that can't come down to the Earth, and vice versa, and all that stuff's all really intriguing.
It is. I was curious about that too. That old man and him up there, and that woman who
them and Skywatch and stuff. Yeah. So it's gonna be really, really interesting for sure. That is it for me for DC books. I didn't get to my other DC books. Like I haven't read Batwoman yet, or I didn't remember what my other books were. But as far as DC books go, I can't think of any DC news off the top of my head.
I was reading up a lot of news for some reason. I don't know why. It just eluded me like last week.
Yeah. So on to some independent books.
You know what? I do. Nope. I had. We didn't go for Marvel. We didn't go for Marvel, did we? Because we didn't have Marvel books. But Black Panther, already came out, right?
The movie?
Yeah, it's coming out.
It's coming out. They've got a new trailer that hit. That is
okay.
Awesome,
I think people
awesome looking.
Yes, I know. I think people were reacting to it. That was yeah. And I remember watching. I said sometimes I watch people who watch
right.
And someone was reacting to it, and they were. I've been seeing all kinds of memes going around about it, about what the trailer, how there's there's quite a healthy amount of people of color in it, which I would think there should be. It's a person of color who plays the character. Why not? I don't think.
Well, they're in Wakanda, so it should be almost all people of color, right?
Exactly, I would think, but they have someone was saying they have their token, they're doing a little wordplay saying they have their token, to Caucasians on the poster. I was like, what? People are just always trying to race bait.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's certainly what that is. My says that it comes out in February 2018 is when it comes out.
Good.
I haven't watched any of the trailers because I don't need to. I know I'm going to the movies to see it, so exactly. I don't want to see any of it. I mean, I saw some stills of how awesome like his guard looks and whatnot. Those ladies just look like super cool. So I'm stoked to see it. I'm looking forward to see, how that all plays out and whatnot. So I'm excited about that. Some news I do remember hearing as far as like the Marvel stuff goes. Punisher, which they kind of have been, the Netflix series, they've been kind of kicking around, not really telling us what's coming out. It starts on November 17th, which happens to also be the opening night of the Justice League movie. So I know there are some people that are getting into the whole Marvel versus DC thing with that release date. So that's kind of strange as far as that goes. So, and of course the Thor movie's coming out real soon. November, 2nd or something like that, I think is when we get it here. It might be out earlier someplace else.
there's already reviews coming out of Thor, the Thor movie. Right?
Well, because it seems to me like the Marvel universe, they release it in Europe first.
Okay.
It seems like so that
screenings too. I think some people are just getting access to early screenings because I didn't watch the reviews of the Thor movie because I may go see it, but I was kind of surprised that they were already put out there.
Yeah. So, but I mean, November 2nd, that's close. That's 2 weeks away, right? Basically. So yeah, I don't know that I'm going to go that and see a theater. I haven't seen any of the Thor movies in the theater to tell you the truth, but I'm more tempted by this one because I love the character Hel. So I may be inclined to go see it to see her. So yeah, I don't know. Can't think of any other newsy kind of things as far as either of the big two.
I don't have any.
Okay. So are you gonna? Do you think you're gonna watch The Punisher?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting because
right?
What's that?
Well, John Bernthal.
Yeah. Which is still kind of a problem for me because even though I watched the Daredevil when he was in it as the Punisher, I still have a really hard not seeing Shane.
Oh my God, I was just about to say
The Walking Dead, and I hated him so bad in that show. Shane. I mean, like every freaking episode, I was like, just shoot that man, kill him. So
I guarantee you now, when you watch Walking Dead now, you're like, Shane was so needed. I know you, because Rick is Shane now. You know he is.
No, he's not.
This season he's weak. He's a little weak because Negan broke him. But he told you have to be this way to survive in this world. He was so right.
No, Shane was smarmy. Shane was smarmy and gross. Rick's none of that stuff. Rick could be crazy killer.
You like
Rick can be a crazy killer, but not.
I should have known you would have sided with Rick because he's a beard. That's what it is.
That's right. He's gonna grow it back and he's gonna be a badass. That's right.
All right.
Just makes him extra cool. He's got that gore hanging off of his facial hair, right? So yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna watch it because I watch all the Marvel stuff and whatnot. It's all pretty good and whatnot. It'll be curious to see how they do a full series of him just blowing the hell out of people. I mean, I have to admit, I don't read a lot of Punisher. Just for that reason, to me, there's only so much depth there, and then it's just him just gunning people down. And whereas that's fun for a while, but you can only show us shooting people so many different ways before that becomes not entertaining anymore. So I don't know. Like I said, I'll watch it though.
I like the series they're adding to this too. Like that trailer when I dropped, I was like, whoa,
yeah,
this is some hardcore. Like this is what the Punisher movie back in the day should have been.
Yes.
That's why when I saw that trailer, I said if they had only captured this tone, from and earlier ago or ages ago, we would have. I think Punisher would have been depicted so differently today.
Yeah. So like I said, I'll watch it. We'll see exactly how that all plays out and whatnot. I don't know. I'll be curious. To see anyway. So we're gonna roll on to some independent books.
Oh yeah.
What do you want to talk first?
My fave because I had a crazy moment. Generation Gone.
Generation Gone.
Yeah. Wowzers. That's what I can say. Wowzers. This so we obviously we kind of reel back to the moment where we have our young African American male admit to, I don't know her name, she's just so forgettable to me. We admit to her that he's always had feelings for her. She's kind of like, well, I don't feel that way about you. I'm not reciprocating those feelings. And then he's like, but I've waited for you. And then she just goes ham off on this dude.
Yes, it was awesome.
I am not a rock to be mined. Like she didn't say that, but that,
yeah.
Something
She's
very
not a prize. She's not a prize. She's not a prize to be won.
Yeah, prize to be won kind of situation. And so she just goes off on him, and he says, well, I'm not like your father. I'm not going to leave you. And
yes.
and he gets she gets livid.
And I love the panel work because, of course, the way it's illustrated, you know, it's all calm. You know, I don't feel that way about you. Everything's just fine. And he's like, but, you know, I waited. And she's like, walks away. And, you know, that's what she's basically saying. You waited. You know, am I a fucking prize? I mean, you know, she's kind of this kind of blue lit, you know, the red, clearly extremely angry. So if you didn't get the picture that she was angry, I mean, that is, and she does that multiple times, you know, I mean, there's through this conversation, the moments where it's kind of calm and then he says something else really shitty to her and she's like, ah, you know.
Yeah, you can see the frustration and the angst just building up continuously until it just boils and festers out in an explosion. It's just crazy. Like it just this generation guy, like honestly, like you know the covers of They're Not Like Us, those covers of how crazy explosive they are. This book, the inside reminds me of those covers, like how it's just like stuff everywhere, all over the place. Like you don't know what's going on. And so we had this conversation between these two individuals. She doesn't reciprocate the feelings. Then she decides to go after her boyfriend who doesn't really want her, who doesn't respect her, who doesn't give two.
Yeah, right. I mean, from us as the outside readers, from what we've seen so far, it's like, oh, dude, this guy would be so much better. He seems like a nice guy.
Thank you.
And her boyfriend is a dick. You know, I mean, he's an absolute straight up. He's that type of boyfriend that when you see your friend dating that guy, you're thinking, oh my God, what is she seeing him? Because he is such an asshole to her. But at any rate, yes. So that's who she's off to go. Yeah, forever and ever with.
And then she makes her pledge to him. And I said, this girl had the audacity to go and say to him, oh, just come on back. Don't go there. Don't go to the spot. Just come on back with me. Turn around and we could be together. I'll be with you. Like, he doesn't want you, girl. He don't want you. He don't care about you. He don't care about that. He want to go and he want to fight and he want to kill. And so next, you know, this one general is still trying to find and locate all of them, especially Nick in particular, her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, whatever he is at this point. And, you know, he pummels her face head into the ground. Yeah, I mean, just no regard whatsoever for human life, no regard for respect of putting your hands on a female. He just pummels her into the ground.
Well, okay, back up just a little bit on that though. So the general and the scientist that created the kids, they're flying in the helicopter. He picks up a big rock. Nick picks up a rock, throws it at the windshield, and crashes the helicopter.
Yeah, he does that. Yeah,
and she's like this because what he is doing, he is going to a nuclear power plant. And he's going to wreck the place. He's going to cause some sort of disaster because he doesn't care. You know, he doesn't give a crap. He's invulnerable. Screw the world. These are the people that hurt him. His family died because of the, you know, working there and the radiation and stuff like that. He hates them all. You know, screw the government. So he's going to go wreck the place, right? So they're kind of trying to stop him from doing that. That's what his girlfriend was trying to do. You know, he wrecks the helicopter. She gets pissed and punches him. I mean, you got to remember, there's that giant page of her decking him. So it's not like she was standing there being all sweet and kissy face, and he decides to wreck her.
I'm not trying to paint the picture of her being sweet, but he is technically stronger. His powers are stronger than hers.
Well, what I thought was fascinating is their fight. I've never seen in comics like a fight between a girlfriend and a boyfriend displayed that way because like they wrestle around, but she flies into him because she flies. That's her big power. Wrestles him around a little bit. He gets a hold of her and turns her upside down and pile drives her into the pavement. Yeah, which drives her head.
Exactly. He pummels her into the pavement. So I'm saying he's so easily incapacitated by him. So clearly, you know, he is so strong where he has these powers over her. So I feel bad for the girl because, you know, she obviously was taking on somebody that she was not able to win against.
Oh, but it's okay. He gives her a kiss in the end, though, right?
And you know, but see, after that, what killed the finale of this series, this issue is when the scientist, you know, after the helicopter's taken down, he tries to talk to him, and I saw it coming a mile away. He starts talking to him, he explains to him why he gave them the powers, how, you know, and Nick's saying, well, you knew that possibly something could happen to us. We could have died. He's like, well, that was a risk I was willing to take, pretty much. And you know, the guy, I said as soon as the scientist touches Nick, something's gonna go off.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen. I was like, please. I was saying to myself, I was reading it. You know, when you're watching the movies, you're like, don't do that, do that. I was like, don't touch Nick. Don't touch him. Don't touch him. Just walk away. Just leave now. But this dude had to touch Nick, and then Nick rips this dude into two.
Pulls him in two, and it's not a clean tear either. You know, it's not a comic book superhero rip. It's a gut. You know, as he pulls, you know, spine and
Warren Ellis
an arm out. Yeah.
Warren Ellis injection type of rip.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. Tears him in two. So the scientist, the one guy that understands the formula, blah blah blah, is now clearly deader than dead. And Nick starts walking off towards the 4 nuclear silos. So who knows what kind of disaster is coming next. The general is taken down, I think, right? In the helicopter crash. No, the general's still functioning. So the general has talked about like dropping a bomb on him. So there's still a possibility that they might do an airstrike on Nick. So and who knows what, you know, what our other friend, the third one that has the powers is going to do and whatnot. It's going to be all kinds of crazy. And I would assume this was issue 4. Yeah, issue 5. Yeah, it comes out in November. So there's a little,
what issue is this?
That was issue 4. So that's the cover to issue 5.
I feel like we read more, doesn't it?
Well, see, here's the thing I think is funny is for me, the first 2 issues kind of like, other than that thing that happens at the very end of the first issue, you know, where they suddenly get zapped with all the black stuff, that was exciting. Otherwise, it was kind of build up. Issue 2 felt like build up to me too. Then last issue, just things started going nuts. You know, we got the bombshell at the very end of the issue. I love you, the I love you bombshell. And then this issue just read super fast and was crazy also. So so I don't know. I don't know if it feels like I've read a lot of more issues than just 4, but it's like, you know, lay down some character work, and now it's just got the last 2 issues have just gone nuts. So it feels like it's moving really fast for me. Like this isn't a long story. I mean, you know what I mean? It feels like it's
propels forward pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, because we're at crazy point if we're talking about, you know, potential airstrikes and stuff like that, wrecking a nuclear power plant. If he does any of those kinds of things, I mean, that's taking it to a level. It's not like they're secretly trying to live their lives or whatever. We're way past that kind of a thing. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where it goes, how long, you know, what kind of length of projection is in this book. Also, I know you read digitally. I don't know, so I don't know if you get like ads or whatnot. At the back of this issue, it's got the ad for the new book by Cott, Days of Hate. So I'll be picking that up too. No idea really what it's about, but it looks intriguing. And of course, it's got art by because I love to say names wrong on this show. It's one of my favorite things to do. It is art by Daniel Zejic. I don't know how you say that. That he's done other stuff. That Zezelj. I don't know. He's worked with Warren Ellis. He's worked with Brian Wood. Trying to think what he's done recently. Can't remember. But he does super heavy inking. He did Starve for the people who read Starve, the book Starve. Just super heavy inking and whatnot. So it'll be really curious to see what that is and how that plays out and whatnot. So I try anything by, how do you say his name? Ellis? Cott?
Yeah.
How do you think? Is it Alice? Is that how you say it?
I always said Alice.
Okay. Somebody earlier today was telling me that it's not Alice. It was something else, but okay. I don't know.
Only so much pronunciation for that name.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been at a con that he's been at or anything like that for me to ask to know for sure. I've never heard him say it. So, alrighty. Let's see what else. Killer Be Killed.
Oh my God, that had to be top this week for me.
Yeah. Issue 13. So we finally did the full circle, right? I've been talking about it for quite a few issues now. We finally work our way back to where the book started out with issue 1, with him being this like stud blowing away all these guys and whatnot, like he's some rock star vigilante, gunning guys down. We make full circle to that. Of course, in the process of making full circle to that, we get some more stuff on his dad. He's looking up more, more pictures of the demon that's haunting him that he still can't decide. The reason I saw those demons is because I was hallucinating. I'm crazy. But there's this little bit that says maybe not, because he can't figure out. There's this stuff that he's supposedly supposed to know. He can't remember. Like his dad had a son that committed suicide before him. And that coincides with these demon pictures when the dad started drawing these demon pictures, which is all really interesting stuff. It's hilarious. Finding out that his mom is one of the people that posed for some of the
he probably stared at his mom at one point.
Yes. It's like, yes, I was the Viking princess in bondage. It's like, he's like, mom, no, I don't want to hear it.
I love that little moment too. It's so golden. I was like,
yep.
That's totally me when I get older.
It's like, oh God, no, oh geez, that's funny. I love that part. When I just really enjoy this book. I love the layers, his exploration, his narration. He's basically talking to us, because that's what he's doing. He's talking to us, and it helps it makes me feel like I'm involved in the comic, to be reading along with it and whatnot. So I really enjoy that. Really have fun. So now I'm curious, because at the end of this, it does kind of state the thing, that now we don't know what's next. Up to this point, we always know he's not going to die. Nothing too bad's going to happen to him, because we knew he had to make it to that point. And now we're at that point. Now anything could happen. Yes.
It's so much enigma now that this has come full circle. And you know what? Honestly, I'm not even mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I love it. Like, I feel like this is one book that can put me on a cliffhanger, and I'm completely fine with it, because I know it's going to be a good read no matter what issue they throw at me. It just I love the writing in this, and this particular issue. Like, even I feel like I think the strongest issue lately for me was the Halloween issue, because it was just like, I don't know, something about that issue stuck with me. That Halloween issue where he killed that Russian at the end. And this one, I feel like kind of like is leveled up with it, because it's like we see him, just like I said, talking. You talking to himself, talks to his audience, letting us know like, hey, there's action, but we gotta delve a little bit deeper into some other things. What about this demon I keep seeing? I'm obsessed with him. I'm infatuated with the idea of this demon, where I've seen him before. Is this somehow familiar? I mean, like a familiarity thing, like, are we all related? And my dad, did he kill himself because of this? Seeing having sightings of this demon. We counted at one painting where it was behind one male, and that was painting a picture while the male was actually about to commit a murder. So maybe his dad was seeing this, and he didn't. And of course, he didn't know, because he was young, and all his visions of his dad was a man of isolation and loneliness. So it's just, like you said, the layers are there. It's like an onion. You're peeling it back, and you're just getting more and more and more close to the core, but then really not. I love this comic.
Yeah.
I really do.
Ed Brubaker is an extremely smart writer. I mean, I think there's a lot of
it's timeless. Writing. It's timeless.
Yeah, and a lot of economy. He's not wasting time giving us stuff that does not matter within it, within the story and stuff. It's very clean as far as that kind of stuff goes. We don't spend time spinning our wheels. Anytime it feels like, okay, we're off on something that may not be part of why does this matter, it almost immediately then does matter. It's all, like I said, all economy of writing. We're not getting a bunch of wasted stuff and whatnot, and just really continue to enjoy it. My only criticism would be of this book is all the covers look the same. They're all this bright orange, and it's just him turned one direction or with a shotgun. That would be my only complaint, is that so many of these covers look exactly the same that I wouldn't be able to pick one out from another as far as just visually looking at them. That would be the smallest of complaints if I had to complain about something, which I don't, so I'm not going to. Yeah. What other books you want to talk about?
Let's see. What's another book that kind of stuck out to me?
You want to talk this one?
You know what? Yeah, that was another favorite of mine of this week. Peter Milligan's Kid Lobotomy. You know, I always talk about how I want Peter Milligan to come back to form, and I think he's slowly getting there. He's coming back into my favor. I feel like I was a little confused reading this. Like I like the confused feelings that I got reading this, which I think a lot of people will get with his stories. You know, like Rogan Gosh is the most confusing of all. I think hands down, a lot of people will agree with me. Rogan Gosh is not the most digestible story off a first read. You do have to go back and reread it to kind of get some things. I mean, maybe even read it 3 times, 4 times. I don't know. I mean,
So is there something wrong with having to do that? Is there something wrong with reading a comic book and going, oh, wow, I need to read that again?
Oh, absolutely not. I think it's great to reread things. I think the art of collecting in itself is you have the availability of that book there. It should be able to be pulled off the shelf and reread again for later use and for later consumption. So me, I'm a reader. You know, I prefer to yes, collect the comic, but I also prefer to read and digest the story and then maybe digest it again. Some stories are better, you know, read once. Some are better when they're read multiple times. I think Peter Milligan's his stuff is better read on multiple occasions. I think I've only read maybe 1 or 2 things by him that read well on the first read, like where read very straight laced, like, you know, I didn't need any kind of explanation. I mean, so I didn't have to go back and reread anything. But I enjoy the layering and the psychedelicness and the you know, weaving of different genres that he and surrealness that he throws at you within the stories. Kid Lobotomy is definitely up there with how I felt when I read Enigma, superhero story that him and I think Brendan McCarthy, right? No, not Brendan McCarthy. What's his name? I forgot the illustrator right now, but I know Peter Milligan was the writer. And I remember reading Enigma a few times, and I remember my first time reading it, I was like, I had to read it again because I was like, there's some things I'm missing here. I like the story, I like where it's going, but I'm a little confused on some areas. So I feel like when I read Kid Lobotomy today, where we have this one young man who initially was in a rock band, you know, against the wishes of his bandmates, instead of playing the guitar, he wants to play the harp. You know, he starts plucking at his guitar during I guess a staging where they're actually playing music, and then I guess he's playing it like as a harp, and then it plucks out, the string pops and slashes his face open.
Lashes his face open.
Yeah, lashes face, and then from there he just starts losing all his insanity, and from there his daddy, which they call him Big Daddy, who wears a fur coat and has a lot of money, and his sister that he's a incestuous relationship with. Apparently, you know, and they're like baronesses and barons of a hotel sorts.
There's Big Daddy.
Yeah. They, you know, he's just interweaving back and forth throughout mental facilities and getting different procedures done, and apparently to the point where he's actually had to get in a medical procedure called a lobotomy, and then it wasn't really advanced, but his father had enough money to help further along the advancements of lobotomies. Father gets him the lobotomy, and from there somehow the hotel is put in both him and his sister's name, so now they're the new owners of this hotel. They have a shape-shifting, or he believes shape-shifting, because I think it's lobotomy affecting his mind, but he believes that there's a shape-shifting made there.
Yeah, there she is.
And his sister, you know, which we find out there's obviously more to the relationship than just being siblings. And
well, okay, so here's the thing about a lot of this, right? So we're getting it through Kid, because the main character, his name is Kid. That's what they refer to him as. I mean, I don't know, that must be his name because everybody calls him Kid. Even Dad calls him Kid. Sister calls him Kid. We're seeing it through him. He is suffering potentially multiple psychosis. He talks Franz Kafka calls him on the phone, so he's having a conversation. He's having a conversation. The roach is living in the hotel.
He asks
the
about
sweets, the sweets, right? So I don't know how much of what we're seeing is his psychosis. Does he actually having this? Was he actually caught playing nurses and brain surgeons with his sister when they were kids, or is that his craziness? I mean, because at one point he gets the new lobotomy, which is literally they cut out a piece of his brain and then they eat it. That's the other part. They consume the insanity to get rid of it. He wakes up, he thinks, oh, I'm perfectly fine. And then suddenly his sister's there giving him a hand job. And he's like, oh, well, I guess this hasn't changed. And then she's suddenly, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? How much of it is really, really happening and how much of it is crazy?
Yeah, I'm saying this when I read, like I said, when I read this, I was like, this is so insane, but I'm liking a lot of it. Like I didn't feel for one moment that I wanted to stop reading. Like, some things get so ridiculous. You're like, I can't deal with this anymore. I didn't feel that way because it was Peter Milligan. I honestly tuned out the fact that he wrote it. I just wanted to read a book, and I really enjoyed it.
I love the twist at the end because he helps this guy. This guy is suffering from having lyrics stuck in his head over and over again, and they're dumb lyrics. They're actually lyrics from Kid's old band stuck in his head. So Kid now is doing his own versions of the new lobotomy, and he's going to save the guy by taking a little piece of his brain out, and then it'll cure him of that. Well, curing him of that mental illness, we find out the guy has another mental illness, and it has a dire effect at the end of it. I don't feel the need to reread issue 1 right now, but I'm fairly confident by the time we get 3 or 4 issues in, because it's Peter Milligan and the way Peter Milligan writes, I will want to reread the whole thing over again to catch what all is going on in it. I think. I have a feeling to go back and get all the nuance that's there and stuff. But there's literary stuff dropped in here. I mean, they briefly talk about Dadaist, and there's all kinds of that stuff. Now, here's a question about this. Okay, so this is part of the whole Black Crown stuff from IDW. It's all curated by Shelley Bond. Shelley Bond was one of the main editors for Vertigo for 10, 15, 20 years, basically, her and Karen Berger. And she worked quite a bit with Peter Milligan. She worked with Peter Milligan on most of those books that you talked about that he's written in the past. Do you think he's more on form here in this book because Shelley is there hand-holding to help direct it, to make sure he's, I don't know, more focused or whatever? Or is it he's more excited to work with her because he's back working with her? Do you think that's a factor?
I honestly, I do believe that, because, I mean, I've been reading all his post Vertigo, all that stuff, like the different imprints of Vertigo that they had. So I've been reading all his post stuff, and I felt like reading the Vertigo stuff versus what he's been putting out now, it's so tame. It's like it's not even Peter Milligan. And so reading this, he has definitely returned to a form of what he once was when he was writing Skin, Faces, all this stuff. Like I feel like, the fact that he is in encounter with one of his old colleagues, that definitely has a lot to do with it. I don't know so much as she hand holding. I think she's definitely,
well, maybe that's not the right word. Yeah, right. Maybe not the right word for it. But then she's helping, because that's what Shelley Bond and Karen Berger are supposedly famous for, is curating, getting the right people together.
Yes.
To inspire them to want to create the stuff that they did with those early Vertigo books and whatnot.
I think maybe I don't know everything that goes on in his head, but I do believe that maybe it's something that he's been pondering on, and just maybe got lost in the sauce because of the fact that he's been working on so much other products and different series. And so the fact that I think there's enthusiasm there. I felt it when I read this. I felt the enthusiasm in the writing was so psychedelic and crazy. It's like I said, back to form, and I really appreciate this, and I'm so glad to have been able to read it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it too. I'm not like totally blown away by this issue, but I like it. I like the weirdness in it. I have to admit, I'm a little apprehensive just because we've had some of his stuff that goes, off the rails and not in ways that I think is fun. Because I'm happy to read weird for weird's sake. I can roll with that. I'm okay with. I like that kind of stuff and whatnot. So I'm cool with that. And I'm hopeful. I have good feelings about it. to see what's coming from it for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely very hopeful. I'm just excited to see something different than, like I have to admit, like when he he headed the comic series, the Mummy Palimpsest from Titan Comics. Like, I'm a hardcore Titan Comics fan. Like, I love a lot of the stuff they're putting out because I feel like they're trying to curate something here where it's like they're reaching back in some kind of vault, and they're trying to bring recognition to stuff that's kind of dying out, the art of these older horror films that are lost and lost somewhere, and so I really appreciate the fact that they hired him on and had him write, but I just didn't feel like Peter Milligan that I've read. So the fact that I read this and it seemed much more like him, I was excited about it. Was it the best book of this week? No, but it was definitely enjoyable because it was crazy, it's wacky. And I like, we all need a wacky book every week, I think.
Yeah, I definitely am looking forward to what's next with it, to see where all it goes with all the. It really does itch a lot of scratch a lot of the itches that I have anyway. Like I said, throwing out the literary terms and these different other stuff that goes on in there and whatnot. I'm down for that. I'm fascinated by somebody who's going to cure people's ailments by cutting that ailment out of their brain and then eating it themselves to try and fix their own psychosis. That's just nuts, and that premise alone is funner than fun. And they're own this hotel that is just totally bonkers, clearly. So it's got haunted little children running around in it with their headphones and and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, lots of room to tell all kinds of crazy stuff for sure.
Exactly.
For sure. Let's see. I am going to. I know you haven't read this one yet.
No, I didn't read that one.
Right. Animosity, issue number 10. Jess is at the farm. She's becoming a smart little girl. She's kind of playing the people that are running the farm because, of course, she still wants to get to the queen bee. They kind of act like they're lost, and they get some help because she's there's a cat at this farm, and the cat is was like the neighbor's cat, so she actually knows the cat. I mean, they're familiar with each other, so there's that aspect of it. But towards the end of the book, we find out that she has noticed something really strange about the place. There's no women. There's almost no females in the place. There's a few cows, but otherwise there's no women. There's all these human men, but no women. And she makes the comment that my mother always told me that if you go into any place and there's no women there, you either better really watch out for yourself or get away as fast as you can. So, she's kind of put all of them kind of on edge because of that whole kind of thing going on. There's an interesting, like back in history story, we get a little bit more of Jess's family and Jess's mom. And it looks like at some point, Jess's mom maybe kind of attempted suicide, took sleeping pills and like stuck herself in the bathtub to drown out. And Salvador, the dog, saves her. He busts down the door, runs and gets some neighbors, and the neighbors come and save her. So that's an interesting kind of element thrown into it. But, I'm still liking it, but it seems like the story moves incredibly slow in this book. I enjoy it. I just wish that time traveled faster or something. Some aspect of it would hurry along more so and whatnot.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't in a rush to read, because to be honest, since issue 5, I've been kind of like, I've been a little bored with the story, to be quite honest. I don't, Margaret Bennett, I really like her as a writer. I create, feeling animosity anymore. Like I was okay, and I was in tune to reading this new one because because Evolution. I was like, okay, Evolution, because I said, you know what, let's see what the spinoff does. But I did like The Rise, so I said, let me go ahead and see what Evolution is going to be all about. But I feel like they need to get that first one to be the great one, and the spinoffs can be mediocre, if anything. But that first one needs to be the best.
Right. Animosity needs to be tighter. That's I guess what it really comes down to. It just needs to be tighter. Yeah. I really like the concept, and that's why I'm still rolling with it. But it's not. I don't think it's the highest quality work. There are moments that they're kind of cool, but it takes too long to get to those moments. I just think it needs to be a tighter story.
Exactly. If it ain't tight, it ain't right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you think of this one? What did you think of Evolution?
Yeah, slightly better than
Yeah.
Animosity, the main series. It was, but I wasn't blown away for some reason with this first issue of this spinoff.
Well, right. So Evolution is just a continuation of the Rise. The Rise was like what, 2 or 3 issues. You know, we got the Winter Mud, stuff in there. And here we get the actual, this became more of a sci-fi book. Whereas otherwise the book is basically, the whole concept has basically been, ooh, what happens if all animal life gains intelligence and gains the ability to talk? What kind of a clusterfuck is that going to be, basically? Whereas this issue, by the end of it, this dog has been given a cybernetic leg, a cybernetic eye. We get some hints as to nobody knows where this dog came from. So this ends on a much more of a sci-fi kind of a feel to it, to me. So I will see where it goes for a while. But this one may end for me if it doesn't, do something really special. I'll probably stick with Animosity, just because I like the idea of it. I like the creators. I'll give it more room because of that. If my budget were to start to get tight, these are some of the books that would go, though, because they are some of the more expensive books. I get less discount from them and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't know. At this point, it's not a book I would recommend. I'd recommend the beginning of Animosity, but maybe not to continue on with any of them at this point. But I am curious, so I'll hang around for a few issues on the Evolution one just to see where it goes, versus the Animosity itself. So,
yeah. I agree with you. It wouldn't be something I wouldn't recommend someone to just delve into the whole entire series. I would like stop at this number. I think it was a series that was written by, I know Christopher Mitten did the illustrations on it. It was a Black Mask, I think, story where it was like a sci-fi story where they were going into space. Actually, there was like these little contractors of sorts. They were going into check on this planet and this ghost planet of sorts. And I remember reading the 3 or 4 issues and thinking the first 2 issues were great, but the last one was just was bad. And I remember I would only recommend someone if they wanted to check the series out just to read 2 issues and then just move on.
Are you talking about World Reader?
No, not World Reader. But you know what? You notice we both have dropped off of that too.
Yeah. Because that's kind of how it was. It was really cool and exciting to start out with, kind of thing, and then it kind of visually and story-wise kind of petered out. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of comics are like that nowadays, don't you? I feel like I have yet to read an Aftershock comic series and continue going along with it. The only one that we have continuously read and follow along is Shipwreck, and that one's really, really good, but it doesn't come out often enough.
Yeah. I have been told multiple times that Aftershock Comics is edited and curated by Mike Martz, who used to work for DC, who's the big Batman editor and whatnot, but that the other guy who's invested his money in it is a movie person. And so I don't know if they float this stuff initially to see if they can get somebody to bite on the stuff from a cinema, or television, or that sort of a aspect is what it's more about. The other thing that's interesting about the whole Aftershocks comics is almost all of the books, with a very few exceptions, the writer has all the creative rights to the book, and the artists are just hired guns. I mean, that's basically the equivalent of like working for the Big Two. But I'm guessing they probably don't make as much money as what they would if they were working for the Big Two. So I don't know where the draw is for top tier artists to work on these books as a general rule. I know that whatchamacallit and the Egret, whatever that was, I can't remember what the girl's name was. That comic that was written by Layman and had Sam Keith doing the artwork on it. That was credited to both creators. But most of the time, like all the Animosity stuff, it's all copyrighted Marguerite Bennett. So it's hers. So I don't, I know that has maybe has a factor in, who has ownership and what's your inspiration to work on those and stuff and whatnot. So, yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like Black Mass. Black Mass is the same way too. They'll put out a comic book occasionally, but very few of them are anything remotely close to consistent. So
Exactly. Yeah, because I mean, I think I was reading and there's nothing there. That seemed like it just started off on a pretty good note for me, but then
I'm still enjoying that. That's almost done, I think. I'm still having fun with that book. But like Cal X, the first issue of Cal X came out. It was really cool. Everybody got all excited about it. I think it got you know, a movie look already kind of thing. And where the hell is issue 2? You know, where's the rest of the story? I mean, it got solicited up to issue 5, and we're 2 or 3 months out from the first issue. If you can't even put the second issue out in a reasonable amount of time, what's the hope for the series long term? There isn't one. To me, that's bad. As we were talking other businesses before we came on the air, that's a bad business practice, in my opinion. If you can't put a product out in an efficient manner, it does not inspire us as readers to want to read it in single issues. And if some of us aren't reading it in single issues, how does it ever make it to trade?
Exactly.
You can't afford to pay the artist, if nothing else, because for the artist, it's a full-time job. If you can't pay the artist a full-time job, he's going to quit and go do something else he's going to make more money at, because there's not a lot of money in comics anyway. So
exactly. You know, if you're looking for the big 2, you know, getting that big paycheck.
Right. Because it's an immediate paycheck. So yeah, for sure. Okay. What else do you want to talk about?
Did
you get yours
Astro
read?
City, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Astro City. I like this issue enough. It wasn't my favorite Astro City story. It was about, you know, about this individual who had harnessed these powers from this amulet that called to him somehow, and he initially thought it was his dog that allowed him to have these different powers, but then he realized he could fly, and the way he even attained the amulet was because he actually was it burglarized?
Yeah, he was robbing a place, you know, and
yeah, he was robbing her house, and so it was like, I guess, a few years passed since that burglary, and he came back to her to inquire more about this amulet and talk to her about how he feels that his dog is the reason why he's able to have all these different powers. And she explains to him that this amulet actually harnesses the powers of multiple things, not just humans, not just animals, but things. So I'm guessing lightning, because that's one of the powers that it has, and that this amulet has powers to discern who wants to be who wants to utilize this power, and it has the power to, I guess, appoint certain powers to that person who holds the amulet. So pretty interesting. I like the premise, but I kind of felt like, okay, I don't know, I just like the more like, I don't know, what's that story where the guy was a billionaire? He's a mogul millionaire. He had created all this technology, and he ended up building a kingdom over in another dimension. Like, that was a good one. The one we have read last issue with the musician, like the Megaplex, was it Megarex?
Yeah. Well, I guess for this issue, if you're a big dog fan, this is that kind of pulls at the heartstrings, because of course, you know, he melds together with a corgi to become G-Dog, you know, good dog. And, you know, the dog is a cute little, you know, corgi and whatnot. And of course, they only live so long. And in this story, they reach the end of Hank. I think the dog's name is Hank, of Hank's life. And so, you know, this guy has to deal with basically the equivalent of his best friend, you know, somebody that he can talk to mentally. This dog, you know, passes away. And so if you know, like I said, depending on you know, on your views on dogs and whatnot, that pulls on those heartstrings. And I think it was a good story for that, kind of a fun, kind of an interesting adventure, like, you know, some of these Astro City kind of things are. So I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm with you though. You know, maybe not the most dynamic story. I know the disembodied voice, when she goes to read this, she'll be crying by the time she gets to the end of it. So that'll be fun at my house. But yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I enjoy it. I mean, I like Astro City. I like, you know, this is just another adventure with some different kind of heroes, and now we'll go on to whatever the next kind of thing is. So I thought it was a fun 3 or 4 issues, and whatever is going to be next with it and whatnot. Alrighty, I am going to talk about Mestros, which is did you read some of it?
Yeah.
Did you get to the 9 3/4 inches?
No. I got when the sword was talking and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna be."
No, not that point. Later on,
okay.
have you got to the point where they actually meet this guy?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
The cowboy with his 9 3/4 inches. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this comic clearly does not pull any punches when it comes to gratuitous male nudity. So there is that. I love the art. I mean, so that's the biggest reason I picked it up, is because Steve, I don't know, Scores. He was the artist on the last thing I saw him do work on was Brian K. Vaughan's United, Canada United We Stand, whatever that book was. He did that, so I figured, well, I'll like the art, so I'll check it out for that. Premise of this is there is some realm of magic, and the people who are like in charge of everything in the magic and whatnot is this royal family of magicians. They all get slaughtered at the very beginning of the book. They're all killed. And we find out that this wife and her son have been banished from the realms and banished from practicing magic, and they're the only ones left, and he is the final bloodline, and he has to be the new Mastro. I mean, that's just how it is. And so they're rushing to get him and appoint him the new Mastro, and then they can deal with this escaped violent magician that got loose, that was breaking stuff out and whatnot. It's amusing. We find him, he's not supposed to be practicing magic. He was back on Earth, and he was selling potions, and the potions he was selling to really rich guys was basically penis enhancement potions, is basically what he was what he was selling, thinking that was small enough magic that it wasn't breaking the agreement he made, that he could live his own life, but he would not be using magic and stuff. I'm sure we'll learn more about that as we go along. It was an amusing enough story. I thought it was fun. I like his mom. Like I said, I love the artwork in it. The artwork is pretty cool. So I'll ride along for a few issues just based on that. There's a magic talking sword. There he is. There's mom. There he is. Trying to figure out exactly what's going on and stuff. We get a brief little chunk of history in this issue that goes back and shows him as a kid, finding out that he is basically the equivalent of like Harry Potter. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was fun. I thought it was amusing. There's some interesting characters in it and stuff. We'll see where it goes. Like I said, to me, visually, it's pretty gorgeous, just because of the artwork and the colors by Dave Stewart and whatnot is pretty cool. So yeah, I'll check it out for a few issues and see how it goes. Any other books you want to talk about, Rez?
The Black Hammer spinoff.
Sherlock Frankenstein and the Legion of Evil. Jeff Lemire written, and of course, Dave Rubin art. What do you think?
Well, I love Dave Rubin's art. I love this, one of my favorite artists, besides Matt Kent and Jeff Lemire. But I don't know, the story was kind of short for me. I could have gone on a little bit longer for me, and the connection was trying to make seemed like a far stretch in a tiny way. I understand what they're trying to say, like, Dr. Frankenstein went into the negative space when the crew disappeared, so he disappeared along with them. Big mystery, but I clearly remember a moment where Golden Gale and him were kissing, and then she off and disappeared, when she was, so I don't, I don't see how this happened when she clearly disappeared and he was not. That didn't happen. This doesn't correlate to me. Because I remember precisely there was a moment in Black Hammer where they decided to be together and make up, and all of a sudden she disappeared from complete like into thin air, and he was like, "Where is she at?" And so now how did she run into this one attack battle and disappear along with them when she disappeared way before that, you know? So.
Yeah. Well, see, for me, I read it. It was fine and all, but okay. So I like the wingman thing, and this is just me as like an old school kind of like DC kind of fan. I love the kind of the brief look back at, oh yeah, wingman. You know, Dad told me all about you, and basically the Justice Society. I mean, they show us a different version of the Justice Society fighting in World War II. I like that, but for me, what was the point of this? Was this needed? Is this needed story? Is this filling in the universe? Did this issue help fill in the universe at all, as far as, you know, making it a more rich or bigger place? It didn't really. I like Ruben's art. You know, I mean, that's great. And I thought it was fine. I don't dislike the comic, but if I'm looking at it from how is this enriching, you know, the Black Hammer universe, it didn't. This is, so far, this issue mostly retreaded what we already got in the main Black Hammer book, when, you know, we already knew she's been investigating, because this has kind of gone backwards now, because she can't be investigating this right now because she's actually stuck in this wherever place they're at now, right? And she's just, the end of it, she just became you know, Black Hammer in that, right? So this is kind of it's backwards. There's elements that are interesting. It's curious to see what this guy's about ultimately. But right now, with this first issue, nothing in this first issue made me go, damn, I need to know more about Sherlock Frankenstein. You know, I'm curious about him, but nothing in this made me feel that way. Yeah, because I'm already exploring and invested in the characters in the Black Hammer thing. This needed to be already up where that book is at, and I didn't feel like it was, as far as that goes. Yeah, am I saying don't get it? Am I saying it's not worth it? I don't know that that's the case either. I mean, I liked it. There's some, like I said, great artwork. Love this panel, this 2-page spread where you literally walk around, you know, around the page as they walk around the page. You know, that was all great and stuff. But it's certainly not a, oh my God, you got to have this because you're missing a piece of the Black Hammer universe if you don't have it.
Yeah.
At least to this first issue. Now, this is just the first issue. There may be, you know, there may be more, you know, out there. But like I said, I really, really, really like the Black Hammer book. It's a, you know, easy, a top 5 book of the year for me. So I wanted it to be something more, I guess, than what it was, but I still, you know, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt like I wanted it to be a lot more. When you reminded me about it, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited I have to go read it. And so I read it. I was like, oh, this is not as great as it's not as good as or great as I wanted it to be.
Right. I mean, because the Black Hammer book itself is gorgeous looking, you know, art wise. It's got this this emotional weight attached to it that just seems really, really great. And it, you know, I read a lot of books, and not many of them truly have a genuine depth to them. And I feel like Black Hammer has depth to them beyond my just kind of general kind of love affair with them kind of playing a little bit with it, kind of winking about the Golden Age heroes and stuff. You know, even taking that aspect out of it, just, you know, who these characters are and that sort of stuff. And this one just didn't have as much of any of that stuff. There's stuff in it that I think is funny. I love all the pictures that shows the whole superhero team together, and every single one of those, Colonel Strange, you know, he's got his space helmet on, and he's trying to drink a martini, which I don't know. I just think that's kind of funny. He's got the helmet and the martini glass is clinking against his. I mean, because he's kind of a weird cat anyway. I mean, what the stories we've gotten of him, he's clearly not lucid very often anyway. And so having him being kind of a, you know, kind of a tipsy, kind of a drinking, kind of, I don't know, there's little stuff in there that was amusing. The characters are fun for the kind of the wink and nod of the golden age aspect of it, but yeah, not where the main series is. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It didn't set off any like super huge excitement for like next issue for me, but I'll check out a few more issues where it goes, but it's nowhere near in the same brevity as the original series for me. I feel like they shouldn't have ended. I was a little shocked that they ended it. I wasn't under the impression it was just gonna keep going. Like I don't.
Well, it is. They're gonna launch it again. You know, it's so. But yeah, but I didn't realize that that's what they were gonna do. They were gonna end it and start it again. That was shocking to me too. And the way they ended it was like, come on, you know.
Yeah.
The way that last
like,
issue was.
Wasn't it? I mean, like I'm not gonna lie. I liked the whole reveal. Like now she takes the helm of what Black Hammer was. She embodies him. She is Black Hammer now. She knows all. She remembers everything. But I'm like, okay, so can we go more about? Can we have Gale like questioning her in a quippy, you know, like angsty way? Can we have Madame Butterfly and her have a conversation? Can we have some more stuff going on? You know, like I wanted to see continuations of that. You know, like of that.
Well, I think it will, because I think the Black Hammer is going to start up again. It's because it's a Dark Horse book. They're going to do it like they do a lot of Dark Horse books. Instead of it being long numbered,
yeah, it's gonna be short.
Now it'll be Black Hammer, you know, Jessica's Revenge. I don't know what it'll be called, and they'll start #1 with it again and go from there. Because as long as they keep, you know, despite we may hate it or whatever, the market shows if you keep dropping a #1 on it, that it keeps selling, and that's what keeps giving the sales bump. So they keep the sales bump up with those #1s. You know, because to some degree they could have dovetailed this into the regular book if they wanted to, right? They could have dovetailed the story in, but making its own thing, they're probably gonna get the sales bump.
Yeah, for sure. Because you know, people know that Black Hammer itself is a really great series. Now, I don't know the whole. I really don't believe that the #1 issue Black Hammer is like very, very valuable or anything. But I can.
No, but I'm sure it sold better than the last issue did.
Yeah,
because you know it always does. I mean, a lot of people buy #1 to check it out and then go, I'm done. I don't need to read anymore. But they still, 20 people checked out the first issue. You know, 20,000 people checked out the first issue, and then the second issue only 18,000 or whatever. So, you know, what you know what I'm saying. So it's that, you know, kind of a thing. So if they only go 5 or 6 issues or 14 issues, then start over, you know, renumber at #1. People who weren't even aware of the first Black Hammer will see, oh, Black Hammer #1, I'm going to try that out. And then it gets that sales bump. They get the old people who are still reading it, plus they get the bump of new people that are buying it, you know, kind of a thing too, would be my guess is how that, you know, as far as that works. So that's it. I don't have any more books. I do, but I don't have them read yet. So.
Oh, really? You didn't read them yet?
Nope, I haven't read any others. That's it. That's it for me. That's the only other books I've read. You got any others you want to talk about?
No, I didn't read anything else that I feel like, you know, it was good enough to talk about.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know of any. The closest thing I can come to think of as far as independent news and goes whatnot is what Walking Dead starts this. Is it this week? Is it this week? That Walking Dead does. So not that that has anything to do with the comic anymore, but it's the war on Negan, I guess. So if you're excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited because you know I had finally watched. I'm up to date on it, so I gotta rewatch and catch up on the spinoff, Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead. All I've got left to watch is the last episode, the 2-hour last episodes. All I got left to watch on that, and then I'll be completely up to date. So.
Yeah, the reason why I was so behind on the series was because I was boycotting it because they put Negan. I don't like Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan. I just don't like him as I don't think he's a good Negan, but I know a lot of people would disagree with me.
I don't care who Negan is. I hate Negan. So
Oh yeah, I hate Negan too. Like
There are people who love him, think he's the greatest thing ever, and I'm like,
I think they're absolutely. I judged them. I seriously judged them. I'm like, dude, seriously, seriously, like you like Negan? Like Negan's a total POS.
He's like he's like, you know, top 10 evil kind of evil. I mean, he's genuinely. It's not like he's just doing stuff to survive. I mean, he is
legitimately evil.
Yeah,
exactly. I can't stand Negan. He just makes me. Ugh.
So, anyway, and that him being Negan has wrecked. It's like Shane. He's wrecked that actor to do anything else for me. I saw him on like some commercial where he's doing an advertisement for, I don't know, a video game, and he's dressed up as like King Arthur or something. And I like, as soon as I see him in the commercial, I'm like, F that guy, man. So, you know.
It's like Danny Glover in The Color Purple. Ever since I saw him in that, I was like, man, screw you, Danny Glover. Like, I cannot, mister, I don't like you. Like, for years, it took me a while. Like, I would, you know, all the Lethal Weapons and stuff, I would just like, no, I don't like you. But
yeah. So anyway, so I can't think of any other like independent-y kind of stuff or whatnot. So I don't know. Like, we're done.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I know you had a super long day today, so I appreciate you getting some books read so you can come on and talk books with us. We had lots of people in the comments this time around. Those people that are in the comments, you just need to come on the show and talk comics with us instead of in the comments. So you're all invited. Come and talk comics, and we'll be back next week. Hopefully I have my comics on Friday next week, so I've got 2 days to read them. So I will have more comics to talk about. But yeah, anything else you want to add?
I'm excited for next week.
Yeah. All righty, everybody. Have a great one. Have a great weekend. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.